What if I told you that there's a legendary inscription that is actually, unironically, better than, I think, any other legendary inscription out there, and nobody's talking about it? It's not on arch formation, it's not on wedge formation, it's not on any of the formations that people are talking about. So stick around in this video, not only for my theories about which legendary inscription is actually insanely strong and nobody's talking about it, but the proof that it works the way that I think it does. You straight up get way less dead troops. It's crazy. Let's get going. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and obviously since the release of the armament system and the legendary inscriptions, it's been a weird struggle to get back to being either a rally or a garrison, or realizing, hey, I can't do that anymore because I don't have the best inscriptions. So if you happen to get your hands on a legendary inscription, for example, I got lucky and I got this one over here, inviolable, it sure would be nice if you could actually use it. And when I was at the Rise of Kingdoms meetup in Germany, a player named Zahir came to me and said, hey, Chisgule, I have this really crazy legendary inscription, and I have an idea about how it might work, and I think it would surprise you. So without any further ado, let's just jump into the line formation, battlements, legendary inscription. Now you may think, bro, line formation, give me a break. This reduces the number of severely wounded units in battle by 10%. Now, some of you may hear that and go, bro, 10% sev wounds? Who cares? I mean, if you're open fielding, 10% less sev wounds is pretty good. But for those of you that have been following along with how effects like this typically work in the game, that also typically means that if you would get dead troops, you get less dead troops. Oh, wait a minute. Well, now you have my attention. Isn't just 10% less dead troops better than any other legendary inscription on the board? I mean, sure, even for like arch formation, if you could max stack invincible and get to 12% normal attack damage, and you're using it on Gorgo, which makes it all damage, like 12% all damage is pretty good, but does that beat just straight up 10% less dead troops from like all ways that you would have had troops die? I'm honestly not entirely sure. The all damage is pretty damn good, but so is this stinking legendary inscription. Now, the weirdness here is that if you actually wanted to get this thing, you just have to get lucky. You just have to shoot the moon and actually get it from a crate, because at this moment in time, it's an instrument-only legendary inscription, so I don't know how else you're going to get it, but I would recommend, strangely enough, that it's almost like worth saving up maybe some stats on your, I don't know, line formation? Probably not. Let me just prove to you this works the way that I think it does, and then we can talk about some of the weird possibilities that exist because of this. So here we are on Zahir's account. He's showing he's got this particular inscription, and he's got it on that line formation. He swung in at his own farm account, and without the inscription, 100% of troops die. So then he equipped it, and he smashed into his own city, and now only 900 troops died. This is where you start to see, like, wait a minute. So if I had a report with 1 million dead troops in it, if I had this inscription, instead I would have 900,000 dead troops, so 100,000 dead troops. Like, 10% less dead troops is extremely meaningful. And there's only a couple places, in fact, maybe only one other place I can think of, where you can actually just straight up reduce your deads like this. Let me show you. Of course, the place we're going to go to reduce our dead troops is Charlemagne. And Charlemagne makes it so that if you're attacking a city, 10% of your troops will be severely wounded and sent to your hospital instead of dying. So presumably these all stack up. If you had line formation, if you had Charlemagne, you've actually reduced your dead troop count by 20%, but I don't think we're actually done here. If I remember correctly, you can get even more. So if this commander's troop is attacking a city, 9% of their dead units will be severely wounded and sent to your hospital instead. So you actually could get to, I think it's 29%. Let's just double check here on a non-active build. If I put 3 points into this, oh, it is giving me 10%. All right, so you can get a 30% reduction on dead troops with the Legendary Inscription and the line formation, with Charlemagne, and with Tear of Blessing. And I mean, okay, I'm not saying the stuff on the way to Tear of Blessing is actually super valuable, although, I mean, that's a lot of dead troops. Now, look, personally, I generally would say I prefer to be on the game plan of taking less troops that die because I'm actually doing damage to my enemy or making myself more survivable, rather than just like straight up changing the ratio of how my trade is going to work. But if we go back and get a look at the line formation, the way that line formation would actually unironically be viable is if the other inscriptions there are good. And unfortunately, rich, increasing your gold gathering speed, that's not going to do it. Moneyed, making it so you get extra resources after gathering, is not going to do it. Even transporter, increase the load of your troops by 25%. I mean, if you're looting cities, I guess. But the point here is that although this Legendary Inscription is actually insanely powerful, like actually busted, unfortunately, the rest of what you can do with line formation is not. So, you know, would it be worth, if you had this, to find a way to use it potentially in the open field? I would say yes. If your armaments otherwise are weak and not yet, you know, fully formed, then this could be really, really good, right? If you're just starting out with armaments, you get this inscription, you shoot the moon, you're one of like maybe 100 people in the world. I don't know how many people have this particular inscription, but if you did, you should actually find a way to use it, I think. Now, you lose out on some benefits. Like, you lose out on, you know, like 5%, you know, skill damage or normal attack damage or whatever. But this gives you a way to take any line formation armaments you may have with any really great inscriptions you might have. I mean, it seems pretty unlikely. And to actually make them super usable. So this is definitely weird. I mean, I guess I can switch over to line formation. That's not line. Here we go. Like, I don't think I've even got anything. And I might have even just traded it in because, like, why hold on to that? Now, you can see I've got a bunch of, you know, armament crates here. I say we open these dang things up and see what we get. And, you know, hopefully we'll get lucky. But I generally don't hold my breath for getting lucky on this stuff. And, you know, there's a couple formations that I'm, like, really interested in working on. I obviously am very interested in the arch formation. So I think for the legendary crates, I'm going to open that. But I'm also curious to kind of work on my hollow square a little bit, just because I do have a lot of possibilities there since I have a legendary inscription. So I'm just going to jam these epic crates on the hollow square. And I think it's like really unlikely I would get something insane anyways, where I'm like, oh, I deeply regret that I, you know, was working on hollow square here. I don't know. I mean, as y'all have figured out, like, the overwhelming majority of your armament pulls are going to get recycled, and that's, I think, the design of the game, right? So we've opened up a bunch of these, nothing so far. Okay, bunch of things that, you know, I've got some inscriptions here, but, like, you know, all of it's pretty irrelevant. This is a pretty decent one for cavalry. I suppose I can lock it in case I want to re-roll, but I think I'll probably end up getting rid of that one. And as you can see, you know, no loss for having pulled on this particular formation here. Yeah, basically nothing that I got that was valuable. So now we crack these open and we go for arch formation, which definitely makes me anxious. Makes me anxious because, like, I don't know, man. It's a lot of dollars, and usually it's all just fodder. So once you get to a place with your armaments where it's, like, good enough-ish, any incremental gains are just shockingly expensive to lock in. But let's try some arch formation here and see how we do. I'm hopeful, but not too optimistic. So far, nothing at all. Mid-level stats is pretty weak. I'd honestly rather have one stat roll super high and then be like, all right, okay, I can, like, you know, try to re-roll the stats on the remaining two stats and get something good than have a bunch of mid stats. This piece, Desperado, takes 2% less damage when it has less than 50% of units remaining. That could be interesting, but like it didn't roll great for the stats. I'll lock it because it's unusual, but I'm not too hyped for it. This, wow, that's a really great cav armament. That's like pretty dang good, pretty unusual. Do I wish this was for a different formation? Abso-freaking-lutely. But am I garrisoning with Gorgo? Yes. So like I want to continue to work on my infantry arch, but like that would have been really pretty damn good if I had gone for any other formation. Well, maybe wedge, where I really would have cared about that. So GG. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Now I'm really anxious. Arch formation again. Okay. How are we doing here? I mean, that's not actually good. The march speed is a pretty bad roll. Pretty bad rolls on all of these. We check, I mean, you know, this is cute. I'll lock it for cuteness, but triple stats on calves, but it's march speed at the start. And I got yet another cav item. But patronage is also not all that exciting. So I don't know that I care about this one all that much. Gonna lock it for now. Feeling kind of like if I had gone wedge, I really might have been rewarded from these pulls for one of those armaments, but whatever. This is the way the formation system works. And then we go arch formation one last time, please. Total trash. So yeah, we look at these, and how did we do? I got exclusive 100% trash. Well, that's $385 on armaments, baby. That's how it goes. So anyways, let me know in the comments if you have that really unusual battlements armament or inscription. It's so rare. Very few people have it. And let me know if you found a way to use it specifically. I mean, the problem is that you don't actually want to work on that formation. So while I think it's like really cute, I don't know that it's worth making it and going through the effort to make it actually good. You'd have to have gotten really lucky on all your other line armaments, which like I suppose is conceivable if in fact you went in and were doing that one event where they like give you lots of extra line formations related to armaments, right? Ooh, I actually have a better armament anyways for this slot. GG. So it's actually wouldn't have been an upgrade for my main march. Would have definitely been an upgrade for my second march though. Would have been a huge upgrade. I mean, if I used some transmutation stones, I could do some cool stuff on this one, but like, yeah, no, that like would have been a pretty good upgrade on my second march, but who knows? I mean, you know, maybe they'll make it so that arch formation for cav is really important. It's good, certainly, for an Attila Takeda rally, but now I'm just trying to make myself feel better about something that I spent a lot of money on that I won't use. GG. Throw a like on the vid. A pity like even would be great. In case you missed my video showcasing the Cologne, Germany meetup, where I met Baba TC Ataturk, Mad Phantom, and others in person, card will be in the end screen in just a second. And if you're just looking for more general armament and inscription advice, I'll have a card in the end screen for that one as well in just a second.